do you call a medieval spy? Surveillance.
Welcome everybody to another video, but this time we're going to try to do a reaction. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to try my best to react. This video is by Roanoke Gaming. He's a decently popular YouTuber who former scientist, according to himself, as far as I know. He was apparently a former scientist, like in microbiology, I think. Anyways, we're gonna watch this video on Jurassic Park. I think he reviews movies and that. If you want me to watch more of these horrors of him, like recapping a movie or whatever, like, subscribe, share, spread this content so I can have more people forcing me to do this crap. I don't know why I'm putting myself up to this torture. Anyways, let's start this video.
Dinosaurs
Let's
have
do
long since
on
fascinated
mobile
humanity
stuff.
for a multitude of reasons, whether it be from just the sheer amount of time they dominated this planet, which is incomprehensible to humans by and large, or their chaotic and alarming end that in some ways, if humanity isn't careful, could be the way that we go out if we don't acknowledge that an asteroid can just wipe us out at any point. Although arguably, that was really just the final nail in the coffin for the dinosaurs, as there were several issues that were pushing various species to the breaking point. The asteroid just kind of assured the destruction of the tyrant lizards. Regardless of that, we find fossilized bones of them and create moles to show what they look like. And based on that, we attempt to figure out how they behaved as well.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about that concept is supposedly dinosaurs really looked nothing like we think they do because there's really nothing we can compare to them to adequately. Because bones do not account for things like body fat or skin structures. If you comparably took, say, the bones of a hippo to a scientist in the distant future and asked them to describe it based on its bones, it would look way more metal than the creature we actually have today, although arguably probably still just as deadly if you think about it. Anyhow, because dinosaurs and ancient animals in general have piqued humanity's interest for some time, for the last few decades, there has been an idea floating around that what if we just created them again? After all, man is obtaining the technology to do so, and if we really wanted to, we could probably create something similar to them, but alas, it would never be the true article. And there's an actual physical reason for this. That said, Jurassic Park says, I see physics is involved and I raise you an I don't care nerd. So thank God for Michael Crichton. But what exactly goes into the process of creating a dinosaur? Why wouldn't this work? And how might it be made to work? And also, why are dinosaurs able to spontaneously reproduce?
Sorry, I put my phone away. I'm not sure if you
let's discuss that in today's episode.
Sorry, I put my phone a bit far away from me. I'm not sure if you guys heard anything I said, but yeah. Too bad, too sad. Anyways, let's continue watching.
Also, the lysine contingency is hilarious. As a biologist, we do not grant you the rank of metabologist. Is that a word? Probably, I don't know. But first, this episode is sponsored by Factor. It's summertime, and it's supposed to be 98 degrees on Saturday, and where I live, that means it's officially too hot to cook in the South. But I don't want to just go and get fast food. I want to maintain my healthy goals and continue the path to shreddedness. With Factor's fresh, never frozen meals that take 2 minutes to heat up in the microwave, I can do just that. Factor offers meals like double protein for bulking, which I need to do here come October, or maybe you're just looking to drop some unwanted extra energy storage. With their calorie smart meals at 550 calories or less, you can do that as well. Plus, considering there are over 34 meals of chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly meals featuring premium ingredients like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, and asparagus, the meals are just absolutely delicious. And now Factor is even offering breakfast options such as a delicious apple cinnamon pancakes, bacon and cheddar egg bits, and potato, bacon, and egg breakfast skillets. So here's the thing, I actually order Factor every week. I was hooked after doing an integration with them back in January, I believe it was, and since then I've lost around 20 pounds of fat and put on likely around 15 pounds of lean muscle. And I'll tell you, the meals are actually really good and a great way to manage your calories through the day while getting enough protein. It helps you feel more energized and focused because what you put into your body actually does matter. So if that sounds like something you would like to do, like taking a step towards being healthy and all that, start with your diet first. Heading to factor75.com and using code Roanoke50, you can get 50% off your first Factor box. All right, let's get back to it. So just in time for the literal last day of Dinosaur Month, you should know by now my timing is always impeccable. Ask any woman that I never asked out and then realize 4.9 years later that they made a pass at me. Prior to meeting my wife, of course, but moving on. Also, there is zero chance this won't be completely obliterated by copyright in about 3 days. Send a prayer to the editor, and good luck watching this before YouTube destroys it. So, we're just gonna go ahead and start. We open up our story with probably a summary that isn't really necessary, but it doesn't matter because it's fun and I get to make jokes throughout. Plus, I can add in more context in the science portions. That's the literal reason I'm here on this platform. There's always somebody who's really angry that I'm covering a summary and adding science. It's so weird. Anyways, we really open up our story to a bunch of trees moving and an Aussie ready to go. As they bring in a cage, they are moving the creature inside to its new home. A small cage, it then rees at them, and then link up to the holding area, as apparently those green lights mean really nothing is going on because there are no locks engaged to this thing. They send one guy known as the gatekeeper to open the cage, which, why wouldn't you just use a pulley system? That's beyond me. But if we did that, how would he get eaten? Also, why is there not just like a backstop to this cage so that the thing couldn't push the cage away from the pin? Stop asking questions, you huge dork. Gatekeeper gets pulled in as the Aussie extraordinaire holds onto the arm, yelling, "Shoot-ah!" OSHA isn't going to be happy about this one. We now meet T-Rex Snack, and he's here to inspect the island for safety to settle a $20 million lawsuit. As he walks into the mine, they found some amber containing a mosquito, which houses the dinosaur DNA. Meanwhile, over an archaeology dig site in Snakeland, Montana, there's...
I just love how he just gives nicknames to random things, especially characters in a movie. So when you hear him just calling someone something that's not even their character's name, it's just him just being funny, as far as I know, which adds more depth into the video.
Scanning the area for any bones that might be contained within the ground. They then find a velociraptor skeleton, putting it at 6 feet high and 9 feet long, which I hate to break the immersion here, but apparently raptors did not get that large. What? Even I think it was the Utah raptor didn't get that large. Again, immersion destroyed. Then for some reason, a pre-adult has shown up on site as Dr. Grant goes to horrify the youngling about raptors pack hunting. As they walk up a hill, a helicopter arrives. As Dr. Grant heads inside his trailer, Hammond then shows up popping the champagne. He invites them to Dinosaur Island for a fun-filled time and definitely not running and screaming. Hammond then makes an offer to get them to go by funding their dig site for another 3 years if they sign off on his park. I mean, how much could it...
You may
I mean, how much could it possibly cost to keep a bunch of archaeologists employed to dig up bones in the middle of nowhere? I can't be that much, right? But then we jump over to another guy. It is all set up all the time. We meet Dennis, aka the worst overlander you're ever going to meet. He's meeting up with Dotson. We got a Dotson here. He's there to pay Dennis for viable embryos. We know at this point, being in the far-flung future, literally 30 years from when this movie was made, that his company is trying to use them for military purposes. But let's pretend that stupid idea doesn't exist and go back to they just kind of want to open a competing park. Flying to the island, we now meet Dr. Ian Malcolm. He's a chaotician. What is that, you're asking? It's like a mathematician that's an even bigger nerd, if you can believe it. A charismatic nerd, though. Have I modeled my entire life after Ian Malcolm? It appears so. Taking off in Jeeps, because the third-gen Toyota 4Runner didn't exist yet, they take off onto the island before stopping, and we get our first look. It's a Brachiosaurus. I'm pretty sure. I should have believed in myself. I looked it up and I was pretty much right. But this thing would absolutely step on you if you get close. Everyone always thinks herbivores are friendly, but again, an elephant will fling you if you get close. Herbivores might be actually more aggressive than carnivores because they have to deal with carnivores. And then we look out over the nice friendly dinosaurs all moving in herds with somewhere a T-Rex clocked in at 32 miles per hour. Heading to the main building, I wonder if like some sort of crazy fight will take place here. I guess we'll just have to find out. We move into the theater room where Hammond talking to Hammond about cloning is taking place. Now there are a few problems, we'll say here. Here's the short and sweet of it. Mosquito bite dinosaur, mosquito fly away, mosquito land in amber, mosquito fossilized with in body. Dino DNA found later. Why use many word when few word do trick? So we come to our first scientific inconsistency. First off, I love Jurassic Park. It might literally be why I'm here today with my degree. The other 80% of that equation is going to be the flood from Halo. That's right, literally what inspired my entire microbiology career was Jurassic Park and Halo. That's kind of why I'm here right now, actually. So DNA has a half-life, as we know it right now, in standard temperatures on this planet of about 521 years. The physical bonds holding DNA together actually degrade due to the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy demands chaos for the chaos genes. This would mean that 6 million years ago or so, the genes have degraded to the point that there would be nothing there in which to actually, you know, pull from. It being over 65 million years later, there would literally be zero information to tell you what the DNA of the dinosaurs were. Now, this is apparently gone around by filling in the gaps with other close relatives, or in general using frog DNA. But there would be no viable sequences left. All would have completely melted away to the point that there would be no base to actually work from. Also, wouldn't it make more sense to use avian DNA, as dinosaurs would then turn into birds? Also another fun fact, did you know that there is a push to eradicate mosquitoes? There's obviously some controversy surrounding this because they are somewhat pollinators and do provide food to some animals, but studies are being done to determine what sort of impact wiping these bloodsuckers off the face of the earth would do, more so considering the massive amount of diseases they spread. Could be worth it, but the moral implications of annihilating a species on the purpose of just because we can is a little bit of an interesting thought experiment. It's something that humans try on small scales, but we never really tried on a planetary scale. Not good. Anyways, I get it, they cause disease, but I don't think we should be annihilating species on purpose. We just do it on accident all the time. Now, something to note about the dino DNA in the Mansquito is that if it was preserved in absolutely freezing temperatures, the DNA may survive longer because there's less energy in the system, causing entropy, but even still, 65 million years is a long time for DNA just to sit there and not break apart. So we now start the next part of the tour, nerds behind some glass. Dr. Grant asks a very interesting question: how do you interrupt cellular mitosis? Well, Dr. Grant, I'm here to tell you. Disrupting transcription factors, which are switches for genes to turn them off and on, like the oncogenes and tumor suppression genes, are both going to be switched off and on respectively, preventing the cell from entering mitosis. Though the point is to grow a dinosaur, so why would you want to disrupt the mitosis? I believe this question was just asked because it sounded scientific. Heading into the clean lab with outside clothing contaminating the entire area, we head over to the eggs. A raptor bursts forth, immediately imprinting on Hammond as he's the first thing it sees. Dr. Malcolm then brings up them breeding in the wild as Dr. Wu says, oh, they can't breed in the wild because all the animals in Jurassic Park are female. Why is this and how is it possible? Well, we will discuss that in a little bit. I assure you it is interesting. They were engineered to be only females, but I want you to remember this statement, however. We control their chromosomes. We just administer the right hormone during development to make it male. All animals are female at first. Malcolm then goes on to say that life won't be contained. Life finds a way. Over at the raptor pen, it's now lunchtime. And much like humans, they love steak.
Life does find a way.
We aren't so different after all, you and I. They lower the cow in and the thing is immediately shreked. Bob the Aussie, or Robert the Aussie if you really want to call him that, shows up saying that they should all be destroyed. They can run at 50 to 60 miles per hour and can jump ridiculously high, but what's worse is, it's a learning wrong movie. It's a problem-solving animal. Malcolm talks about the implications of doing this and how it's really not a good thing. You packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, which back in the 90s, young Roanoke had this plastic lunchbox. I really do kind of wonder what happened to that thing. He goes on to drop one line that I think we should all be looking at currently in life. We were so preoccupied with whether we could, we didn't stop to think if we should. But you know what this movie has been missing the whole time? Pre-adults thrown onto Dinosaur Island. So let the tour begin. Ah, gross. They're in 1992 Ford Explorer XLTs. Again, the only reason Forerunners were not used in this is because second-gen Forerunners had a head gasket issue. Think of what could have been if this movie came out in 1996. I mean, you ain't getting stuck on a log having to get out and get blasted in the eye by a dinosaur is all I'm saying. If you had a third-gen Forerunner, that is. So there are no drivers, and it's on tracks, and get this, it has a CD-ROM. The squad then loads up as the pre-adults begin following Dr. Grant. You know, I'm gonna keep it real with you. We're gonna call him Alan because that's his actual name. But what's also interesting is during this time frame, when the asteroid was impacting the Yucatan Peninsula, this was actually just a hypothesis and hadn't been confirmed yet, and Tim was talking about it. Oh, and if you didn't know, I was a huge dinosaur guy growing up. I watched literally every documentary possible about these things, mainlined right into my eyeballs for hours a day at a time. So while they're getting ready for the tour, a tropical storm is heading in, which apparently was a shock to everyone for some reason, because those just form within minutes. But they decide to go ahead with the tour anyhow. As they pull up to the first exhibit, Dilophosaurus is nowhere to be seen, much like how Dennis won't be seeing anything soon enough as well. As they move along, they now approach the T-Rex area, of which there's nothing to see. I mean, it looks pretty, I suppose. A goat then comes up and just sort of hangs out, and T-Rex doesn't want to be fed, he wants to hunt. And now the rain moves in. Malcolm launches into the concept of chaos, hitting on Ellie, as Alan then spots a Jeep in the distance stopped. Ah, the Jeep in its natural habitat, stopped in the wilderness. More than likely.
That's funny. Anyways, back to the video.
Broken down. Anyways, Alan gets out of the vehicle as Malcolm then talks to himself. Heading into the wilderness, literally right next to the T-Rex pen, couldn't be me, they approach the sick Triceratops. He got into some pretty plants, but they're actually poisonous.
Don't we all talk to ourselves as fellow content creators? Don't we all?
They tranked her because she's feeling a little woozy. Ellie then finds the plant, West Indian lilac. It's toxic, but they know the animals don't eat them. Yes. And I base this hypothesis on absolutely nothing. Tell that to my bonsai tree that actually wasn't eaten by my cat, who's a carnivore, yet for some reason is a huge dork who eats plants. Also, the boat leaves in a few minutes. Not good. Taking a look at one big pile of poop, Ellie checks it out to determine what dinosaurs have actually been eating as Dennis executes some sort of function. The storm is now moving in as well, and Dennis now realizes he needs to GTFO. Dennis starts sweating, asking if anybody wants a soda. Definitely not looking sketch at all. As cars head back to the main building, it's a nice ride through a tropical storm in the jungle. Dennis at this point now heads to the DNA storage facility and begins opening the bug zappers to take out the dino DNA. Ian then asks about Ellie to see if she's available, and as he does, the vehicle stops. The fences begin failing all over the park at this point as Dennis breaks in with his gas jeep.
Okay, now that I think about it, they left the viewing area of the T-Rex paddock. How the hell did they manage to get back to the T-Rex paddock? They would have had to do a full-on lap from my memory, unless there's the tour system is a bit weird in Jurassic Park thing. I don't know. Anyways, back to the video.
Driving along, he can't see and crashes into the sign showing him where the dock is. Out on the tour extraordinaire, the vehicles have stopped right in front of the T-Rex pen, which is always probably a great feeling now that the electric fences are down. Timmy finds some night vision goggles as Alan drinks some rainwater, which horrific knowledge I'm about to impart on you. There is a chemical known as a forever chemical that is man-made and also a hazardous product. It's called perfluoroalkyl. And yeah, I might have messed up saying that, but it's in the atmosphere and it doesn't actually break down, and it falls as rain and then goes right back up. And if you drink it, it's been known to cause cancer, and it's in all of our rainwater, and the sun doesn't destroy it. Our short-sightedness on this planet is otherworldly. Don't get me wrong, humanity is pretty cool, but good lord, we sort of botched that one. So don't drink the rainwater. Activated carbon or reverse osmosis membranes will remove perfluoroalkyl, so at least there's that. We're really gonna have to do something about that crap in the atmosphere at some point around here. As Timmy looks around, the ground begins shaking, and we all know what's about to go down. It's time. The lawyer thinks it's power turning back on. Yeah, man, that usually vibrates the ground. That's probably it. So Timmy looks out and sees that the goat is gone as a nice, literal clean cut of goat leg lands on the roof. The T-Rex then uses his tiny arms to test the fence, which is off. The lawyer freaks out and makes a run for the bathroom. It is at this point the T-Rex breaks through the fence because why would you have redundancies to contain this thing? Also, fun fact, the artificial rain that was being created while filming this scene caused the T-Rex to become so heavy due to its skin being absorbent foam that they almost had to stop filming entirely, and in some cases had to let it dry out first before starting again. So Lex does just the galaxy brain thing and tries to signal to Alan about the giant lizard walking around, making the T-Rex now very interested in them. Window tint would have solved this whole problem. It begins its attack on the pre-adults as Alan and Ian realize they probably should do something, which is a tough choice. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, they're adults. Of course they'll do something.
Anyways, I just had something to do.
Yeah, it would not be fun to be eaten by that thing. Is
Sorry.
Based on movement, though. He throws the flare, but for some reason, as the T-Rex goes to chase it, Ian gets out and does the same thing, except while running, so he's moving. Also, the lawyer is actually using the bathroom. Truly, if you gotta go, you gotta go moment. Running to the bathrooms, Ian gets knocked out, but the lawyer is completely exposed. Had he just sat there, he might have survived, but alas, he's turned into T-Rex food rather quickly. Back at the car, Grant tries to pull the pre-adults out as the T-Rex then returns. Using the vehicle's cover, it's going after Tim, who's still kind of under the vehicle. Alan and Lex then descend as the car gets pushed over the edge. Back at headquarters, they realize Dennis turned everything off as Hammond sends Robert to go pick up his grand younglings. Well, that's going on.
I could not realize that they can now realize that when dude that was the main character for the second movie did the flare thing. That was somewhat stupid because the T-Rex could just walked it back into the pack. But then, if you remember, how in the world did the T-Rex get out of the paddock? If you ever watched the movie, like, how the hell did that thing get out of that paddock when once Alan and that were in the paddock? There was like a giant ass wall from the ground, and like the T-Rex got out of it. Like the whole entire wall is like taller than the T-Rex, but we saw the T-Rex. The movie has some inaccuracies. Like, dear God, there's a lot.
Dennis should have probably practiced his overlanding skills a little harder. Then again, he's in a Jeep, so it's not surprising that he would get stuck. Plus, those are literal road tires. Why you would have those on an island where they're expected to go off-roading is beyond me. They really didn't prepare for this. As he hooks up to a tree, we see one of the dinosaurs trying to figure out if he's made out of food or not. It begins to square up, opening its frills and blasting him in the eyes, phrasing. As he goes to get into the truck, he can't see, and there's another one in there as the Barbasol can is then lost forever. Down at ground level, I am really confused. So the Explorer was pushed over a massive wall, right? Well, when they were there earlier, it didn't seem like there was just a sheer drop into the abyss. How did the T-Rex get up there? Well, who knows, because now Alan has to climb the tree to get
That's what I was saying.
him out. Finding him in the truck, they begin their descent, but so does the truck. Eventually it falls out of the tree,
Anyways,
but they get lucky.
I'm gonna stop the video here. I'm gonna make a part 2, I guess. Hope you all had a great day and that stuff. Subscribe, like, comment, share, whatever. Say in the comments what other videos similar to this you want me to watch or whatever. Peace.
Can you see all of me?